So you're sitting in the office waiting for your next appointment. And I have a quick question for you. If I was to look into your purse right now, go into your car, and look in the console of the glove box, would I see medications such as Tums, Prilosec, Nexium, any of those type of medications? And the reason I ask is because those antacid type medications potentially can be causing more health problems than while you're taking the actual medication itself. And that's what we're going to talk about now, is gastroesophageal reflux disease, commonly known as GERD, and you may just be calling it simply acid reflux. And that condition, symptoms of that condition are pain after eating, a burning sensation coming up the esophagus, wheeziness, hoarseness, a dry type cough that you get all the time throughout the day. All those type symptoms can be caused by the GERD condition. What we're going to talk about now is a little bit about the symptoms from the medication. Then I want to get into the mechanism of how you get that condition anyway. And then we'll end with some alternative means of managing the condition and potentially eliminate that condition once and for all. So talking about the actual medication itself, first it's important to know that there's $24 billion a market with that typical type of medication for acid reflux, and $13 billion spent right here in the United States. That's a lot of antacid medication. Could there really be that many people with too much acid inside their body? $13 billion worth? I don't think so. And I'm here to tell you why. Because if you look at the human body, and we look at all aspects of the human body, for instance, hormone function, would you say that your hormones, or do you think your hormones increase as you age? The answer is no. They actually decrease as we get older. The testosterone in men begins to drop, and estrogen drops in women. All the different hormones seem to lower. What about insulin that manages blood sugar? Does that go up as you age? No, in fact, that decreases too. Common cause of disease called diabetes that I'm sure you've heard about. What about immune function? Does that increase as we get older? In fact, that also drops as we age. So it would be hard-pressed to use logic to think that the acid in the stomach actually is going up as we get older. And the reality is, according to physiologists, the acid in your stomach drops at the age of 60 about half of what it was when you were 18. So in fact, what we're dealing with in most cases of stomach acid is too little acid as we get older. And the issue that we have is the management, the conventional management of acid reflux is giving antacids to make the acid even lower in your body. And there's many health issues that can occur from actually doing just that. And let's talk about those. When you decrease acid in the stomach, you are going to decrease the absorption of important minerals, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, to name a top 3 that are going to cause issues in your health. Now let's talk about that. When your magnesium goes down, you're going to have restless leg syndrome. You're going to have muscle spasms. You're going to have blood sugar issues causing sugar cravings. And in fact, you need magnesium to make hormones, such as the real important one, the happy hormone, called serotonin. Those of you taking antidepressant type medication could be taking that as a side effect of taking antacid medication. I bet you didn't know that. So what we're looking at is not only a decrease in minerals, but we're also looking at some very serious issues, and one of them being hip fractures. If you're over the age of 50 and you take antacids for over 1 year, your risk of hip fractures goes up almost 50%, according to the Journal of the American Medical Association. That's a medical journal. Now, of those almost 50% increase in hip fractures, 25%, a quarter of the people that get the hip fracture, will die from complications of the hip fracture. So now we're taking these antacids, and we're potentially causing hormone issues, mood disorders, potential fractures, potential mortality, early death from simply taking something to reduce the trickle of acid inside of your esophagus. So other type of issues is muscle disorders called rhabdomyolysis. Another big word, that is a muscle disease that deteriorates your actual muscle. So I think we've talked enough about the harmful effects of these type of medications. They're in a class called proton pump inhibitors, which are basically the group of antacids. So let's talk a little bit about the mechanism of really, is it too much acid in the stomach? And my answer would be, actually, it's really not in most instances. The stomach, we'll explain a little bit how the stomach works. The stomach is basically a little bag that has acid in it, and it breaks down the food that you eat. And on top of the bag, there's actually a door that closes to keep the acid inside the stomach and away from your esophagus up here. Now, that door, if you have low acid in your stomach, that will not make that stomach door close. So if you have weak acid here, the door may not close, and you're going to get weak acids trickling up here. Well, the assumption is, I have too much acid. Not the case. It's the fact that acid is too weak, the sphincter or the door didn't close, and it trickles up. Now, a second cause of the problem, which is really important, is that that door is also controlled by nerves that exit the spine and your central nervous system. And the nerves are called the splanchnic nerve, the vagus nerves. Not needed to know those particular nerve names, but it's important to understand that your central nervous system can play a role in the health of the stomach and the symptom of the gastric reflux. So that's where chiropractic comes in. If you have a subluxation, an impingement of the nerve, a decreased energy flow from the nerve to that actual muscle, you actually going to have that sphincter not working correctly. So that's where it's important to get your spine checked, irregardless of whether you have any potential back pain. You need to get checked to see if you have a subluxation that could be contributing or causing the problem. And I really urge you to do that, whether it's yourself, your family member, a neighbor, someone popping more antacids every day. You go out to lunch and your coworker's always popping that antacid tablet. You may tell them to consider chiropractic because of those long list of side effects that we talked about a little bit earlier. So in summation of our discussion here is we talked about the actual medications, the side effects such as hip fractures, early death, hormone imbalances, lack of absorption of minerals such as magnesium and calcium, and all those types of issues for side effects for the medication. Then we talked a little bit about the mechanism. Is it really too much acid? In most all cases, I'd have to say not. It's actually weak acids. So the other thing we can do is embrace some nutritional remedies. One of the concepts is betaine hydrochloric acid, which can get in the tablet form. And that can help increase the acid and help that trickle of irritation you get in the stomach by actually increasing the acid, which is going to help the side effects that we talked about earlier. So you can go ahead and talk to your doctor about that. But again, I urge you to talk to anyone you know about that's dealing with acid reflux and give them an alternative approach to management of the condition.